Oh, shoot. It gets to be late already.
Penetrate the humidity for the airflow. Those two? Okay.
Welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please be seated and turn to page 2 in your liturgy books. Gata of Atonement, all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges.
saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened. May their vows be completely realized. And may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill this space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness in the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness in the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering in the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering in the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand for the Heart Sutra, found on page 4 of your liturgy books. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like the Shariputra. All things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond delusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate Gate Para, Gate Parasam, Gate Bodhisvaha, Gate Gate Para, Gate Parasam, Gate Bodhisvaha, Gate Gate Para, Gate Parasam, Gate Bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the six worlds and dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Carol, Dave, Shane, Melissa, Ando, Chris, Laverne, Madonna, Fung, Jack, Roger, Soke, Corinne, Evan, Sarah, Darcy, Mary, and Charles. May they have peace and healing. And also to Janet, Tom, Dylan at the time of their death, as well as those names we hold in the silence of our hearts and those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored
Dharma school teachers and students are dismissed. Everyone else, please prepare for Zazen. We'll now recite the Song of Covenant found on page 8 of your liturgy book. We, the Daishin Kokuji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated, sit comfortably, all so you can make eye contact with the teacher. And in a moment, we'll recite the Gatan opening the sutra, also found on page 8. Gata on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing to be here and practice together. A special welcome to those who are here for the first time. It's a delight to have you in our presence. I've been giving discourse on the Lankavatara Sutra for over a year at this point, and I have no intention of stopping. The sutra has become a dear companion, has revealed itself as a long-time dear companion. And every once in a while I get the idea it might be useful to give some practical teachings on like what the heck is this really pointing to, and how might this actually show up in the weird times which we are blessed to live in, right? And so there are many, many easy examples within ready reach. And so I'll reach for one or two, or maybe even three today. As a context for this, hopefully I'll be able to make clear a teaching that may present itself as somewhat exotic. The Dhamma chakras, the turning of the Dharma wheel, okay? This is a term recognized through all the large Buddhist families, that, you know, when the Buddha taught, we say the Buddha turned the wheel of the Dharma. And most scholars and practitioners alike land on there being somewhere around 3 specific turnings of this Dharma wheel. And it, you know, you'll get different opinions about how they happened and so on, but basically in rough form, the first turning of the Dharma wheel is something like dharmas exist, but they are not the self. So experiences occur, they're real, but they're not you. Okay. So the classic sort of pointer to this is a cart. You know, you have a cart, and you take off the, I don't know, the wheel. Is the wheel the cart? Well, no, that's the wheel, is the bridle, or whatever. Pick the parts apart. And you get like a bunch of parts, basically, and there's no self-existent cart anywhere to be found. Rather, you have an amalgamation which produces a function without a permanent self-existent essence, just to say it. So there we are. The cart's real, but it's not permanent. Dharmas exist, but they are not the self. Thus, do not identify the self with these dharmas or with the experiences. Okay? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, situations, circumstances. Now, the next turning of the Dharma wheel can be summed up something like, dharmas actually, guys, do not exist. They're empty. The wheel itself is not a wheel as a constituent component of the cart. In fact, all the nails themselves, if you look at the nail close enough, if you look at the pile of aggregates and look even closer, guess what? There's not even a bunch of aggregates there. Turns out. Right? This can start sounding like physics or something if you're so inclined, and I won't prevent you from doing that. But dharmically, it's very important to go from these things are real, but they're not you, don't identify with them, to seeing that actually the way in which these things are real needs more scrutiny. Okay? The dharmas themselves do not actually exist as a specific, permanent, self-generated thing. Rather, they themselves are empty. They have no independent existence. So here you get into the interdependent co-origination of all things. Okay? So my fingernail has no independent existence. It's there because of this body's function and the hopefully appropriate nutrition that's been coming in and the hopefully healthy process of excretion and so on, and so here's a fingernail. But it won't stay that way. Short order, it'll be clipped because after all, guitar demands it, so there it's going to go. The trimming will go somewhere, it'll break down. The molecules involved in this process will be somewhere very different, short order. But they themselves have no existence in the sense of being a permanent self-manifesting reality. They do not. Instead, everything is interdependent and arises together. Then the third turning of the Dharma wheel is to say that absolute reality itself is the clear light nature of mind. It's all mind, baby. It's all clear light mind. It's not even just that things aren't there. It's what things are is mind itself. Clear light, tathagata garbha, mind, see? And this is manifested at play, basically. So mind playing now as a hammer and now as a nail, as a wheel and as an engine, right? As a tree, as a fingernail. Buddha nature pervades all things. All things express Buddha nature. All things express reality. All things are expressions of reality, of truth. What is truth itself? If you want to sling some words around it, you can say clear light mind. That's as close as words can get, which frankly isn't very close. But nonetheless, you have to say something. Okay, so that's a thoughtful, interesting, so what does that have to do with like the day? Okay, what light could that possibly shine on, I don't know, crazy tariffs, for example, or state mandates in education, or that disaffected family member, or that horrible diagnosis, or this situation that is just not right, even though everyone wishes it was. How about those situations? Okay. Well, it turns out that this process wherein the ego mistakenly perceives itself as a permanent entity has massive and far-reaching consequences, none of them happy, okay? Because as soon as I see myself as a fixed thing, then I do that in relationship to other selves that are fixed things in my mind. And here the drama begins, okay? There's a way in which the mind can become quite identified with itself, say as victim. There's a juicy one, you know. I am a victim. I am helpless. I am at the receiving end of these unjust realities, or this abuse, or whatever it is, right? And look, I get it, you know, in the actual experience of the world, I've had a rough week. I know the feeling, right? And yet, the delusive mind can use anything to further its delusion, even great success and windfalls. Perhaps they're even more dangerous, okay? But let's just stick with our victim as an example, okay? It's very, very easy for us to wind an identity around this, let's say, victim quality. And the problem with that is that then it becomes for us, it becomes a more tangible fact. See, I'm not in any way trying to diminish the realities that people can in fact be victims. But dharmically, what do you do with the situation? We're all victims in many ways, some more than others, some more extreme than others. But all of us live in a world that is not entirely something that we have access to the levers of power with, right? I mean, deeply regrettable people are in very powerful places, making deeply ill-informed decisions. And this is nothing new. This is not the first time, okay? Has there ever been a time where that wasn't true? I don't know. So this victim requires an enemy. That's part of how the victim identity works, okay? Same thing in reverse, you know. The victim requires a hero, someone who's going to rescue. And so here you have embedded a very easy, pre-chewed trap. Goes down easy, tastes sweet, but be careful, be very careful, because in this sort of victim and then rescuer and then you know, perpetrator, let's say, within this triangle, okay, everybody's fixed in their identities, and it's so easy to do. It is so easy to do. Consider the evolution of our species, right, is really not the survival of the fittest. It's the survival of those who get along as a crew, okay, those that work together. Well, how do we work together? Well, one of the core ways we work together is we're not those guys, but they got nice stuff and we want it. So let's have a God concept, say, that we can fling around and all rally about with, that somehow likes war, and so this God figure helps give cover to this march to take resources from our neighbors, let's say. Okay. Or in more subtle forms. This victim and antagonist or enemy or opponent or what, and it can be a situation, it can be a person, it can be whatever, fill in the blank. The conspiratorial mind here has lots of oxygen to fill in a convenient enemy story, right? But the interesting thing is we can get trapped in any one of those roles. Have you ever been in a situation where someone starts projecting you as being the enemy and you just sort of buy it somehow? You didn't even sign on to this. There's no consent involved, but they start framing you in their world as the evil enemy one, and somehow we go, oh, that's my role, okay, here I am. we just kind of, acquiesce to it or something? I don't know how to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. You start to it starts to hold sway over the way you see yourself, perhaps, you see. Or perhaps even scarier, you think you're going to come in and rescue folks. Man, I like to hang out in that mistake, I'll tell you. Okay, it comes natural to me. There, honey, I got you. Yeah, but be careful, old Rinsen. Watch out, okay? This too, it's a more comfortable place. Who wouldn't rather be the hero as opposed to the victim or the evil one, let's say. It's a comfortable place on the wheel for many of us, but it's just as false. The Velcro is just as sticky, okay? And the harm that comes is just as bad. It's a little more palatable, perhaps. Maybe not for some. Maybe for some, I'm on the outside and I know it and I like it. So yeah, I'm the enemy. You got that right. Or I'm always the victim. Whatever. It can be however. We regularly rotate around these things. And what the sutra says quite clearly, okay, is that this appearance, this form that comes to be, say it's a situation that's difficult or confusing, what have you, a person, a situation, some difficulty of whatever kind, that appearance comes and then we put a name to it. Oh, those people, they're doing that again. We give a name, okay? And in the appearance, being given a name, we then make discrimination. There's us versus them. There's right versus wrong. There's up versus down. And there's no limit to this. And your mind does it so fast, you don't even register it happening. It's rather like, looking at a video on your phone. You're not really perceiving the fact that it's pixels flashing on and off at a rapid rate. You see the cat being amusing, you see. But actually, there's no cat there in this phone of yours. The experience is real enough, but it's not true, okay? So in the same way, the Lankavatara warns us, be very careful, okay? Appearance arises, name comes, language comes, and here then comes discrimination. And these form this a kind of a dark triad of their own, I suppose. This stickiness of constantly reasserting the self, whether I'm the righteous or the idiot who can never do it right, or I'm the antagonist or protagonist or whatever, it doesn't matter. So how do you break free from this? There's the trap, nicely discussed, right? Somewhat laid out. And I'm talking about the feelings that you have, the way you see the situation that you're in, okay? Well, the sutra says very clearly that Buddha nature is not something that's seen by a seer, okay? There's no one who witnesses or sees Buddha nature. This is not how it is. Prajna wisdom itself realizes Buddha nature as itself. Okay, and the mind, the intellectual mind, is constantly at a position of observation. I see you. I see this. I don't like this. I do like that. Right? There's a perspective. Well, Buddha nature is not an object of perception from any perspective. That has got to be let go of. That's why this business of coming to awakening it requires, it demands, if it's going to be durable and sustainable and real, you've got to get your mind concentrated enough that you can sit still for half an hour. And I really mean that. You have to be still physically and you have to be able to become still mentally. Okay? You've got to find how to settle down, even though ... You have to be able to have equanimity and presence even when ... You're the victim, you're the hero, you're the enemy. Even when situations are coming around and others are slamming labels all over you and you're doing a fine job of labeling yourself while we're at it, right? Especially, not even then, especially then, settle down. The mystic is no one in particular. The greatest saints and sages of all time are not aware of themselves as like, I'm doing this. I mean, they're in the room, of course, but it doesn't come from that perspective. The true unitive way of realizing oneness of all things is messy. It shows up as the dirt underneath your fingernail, okay? It's not this pure thing somehow. So this is the pure thing. We're in it. You want to see purity? Look around. Here we are. See? How do we realize it? How do we live from that place? First of all, if you take that victim stance and realize you are not a victim, you are Buddha. So we're going to go from the drama triangle to the dharma triangle, all right? We're going to flip this sucker, okay? Instead of victim and abuser and hero, let's say, you can pick whatever words work. I'll go with those. It's Buddha, okay? I'm sure every one of us can legitimately right now come up with ways in which we're actually been victimized, right? Can anyone think of at least one occurrence in your life where you've been the victim of anything? Sure, it's not hard to come up with, okay? But even there, realize your mastery. You know, let's pick these, let's say this trade war tariff stuff, okay? And so there's all these, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bunch of unanticipated consequences, and we're all just going to be sloshing around them, okay? How do you become the Buddha of this? How do you become the Buddha of this situation? Maybe your career that you built up over many decades is suddenly just doesn't exist anymore. This is not that uncommon in the history of Homo sapiens. It's never pleasant. But how will you now work with it? Say a diagnosis comes through for yourself, or worse yet, your kid, let's say. Okay, it sucks, I get it. Let's take a minute to feel the feels. Now what? If I stay in victimhood, I'm powerless. The Buddha says, realize mastery of this situation. You can even be a master of being imprisoned, right? I mean, there are heroes that we can actually point to that really were such, you know, under the most extreme suffering possible in the human experience. You can still be the Buddha of that experience. It would be possible to be on a firing line of a firing squad, let's say. I'm not advocating for it or anything. But even that kind of situation, it's possible for you as an individual to be an awakened Buddha of that moment. You can't get your hands free. You can't take the blindfold off. You can't just click your heels 3 times and go home. This is happening. But you can be the Buddha of that moment. What does this mean? You have to find. But you can. There is Buddha to be found, and it doesn't depend on the circumstances. You can also, to pick a happier occurrence, you could win, let's say, the whatever amazing ball lotto thing, and suddenly you're a gazillionaire or something. Most people, that would destroy your life. It's possible to be a Buddha of that, let's say. So instead of the firing line, now you have this windfall. It's possible to be the Buddha of doing well. What would that look like? Well, you have to find it, if that's your case. Whatever talents and capacities you have, be the Buddha of them. Whatever deficits and shadows we have, be the Buddha of those too. You're not the only person that has strengths and shadow, right? Here we come to the rescuer role. Instead of the rescuer, you know, when I am in the victim role, I tend to look for who's the enemy and who's on my side. And here's the split. Who's on my side, who's not on my side, right? Sideisms. Sidist. I'm a sidist. My side, not my side. Wherever the lines are, battles are going to occur. And we put the lines there with our mind. They don't really exist. But they're real enough for you if you keep fetishizing them. You will live and die with those battle lines. Oh, yes, you will. So rather than the hero or the rescuer or the savior or whatever, the ally, you have Sangha. Sangha, community, see. The community of folks who actually practice and are not your rescuers, but they're your companions. See here, As Sangha, we are companions to one another, and companions in what is true. What actually is true? Even if it's not what I want to hear or not what I wish was happening, it's better to be in full contact with what's actually true, because you have enough landing that you can jump from that, okay? If your feet aren't firmly planted in what's true, you can't do anything. There's no leverage possible. You're just floating around in air, baby. You got no traction anywhere, right? Even though it's a drag and it's not what you want, you have got to get your feet landed on what's actually so. And we need companions, not rescuers. You do not need someone to rescue you. Companionship, yes, you need. I need. We all need. Long for. Companionship is a vital nutrient of our human way. I'm very, very, very concerned for young people that have 1,000 friends, but they've never met any of them in real life. It's an entirely pixelated experience. I don't want to be old guy yells at cloud here, but you need friends you can actually hug, that you can actually be real with, that can be there when you're not at your best, right? If you've always got to have the filters on and be some hypothetically best case to you, click. Come on, Sangha, you don't need a hero, you don't need a savior, but companionship, yes you do. And if you're one of those many, many folks for whom being around people is difficult, look around, you're not alone. And yet here we all are. Okay? Don't look to the Sangha to be your rescue, but look to the Sangha to be your companion. And when you are that Sangha member, be very careful about sliding into that rescuer role. It's not good for you, it's not good for them. Being helpful, being kind, being engaged, being a companion, giving counsel if and as asked, sure. I count on Sangha to help me see my deficits and blind spots. I have plenty of them. Ask anyone in leadership. But I need that. I need the full contact. Hey, Rinsen, that's really not a good idea. And they have to be able to say that. I have to be able to hear that. This is just being grown up, honestly. It's really not that complicated. And yet, when the ego gets involved, when the identity of self, enemy, and friend takes hold, it's excruciatingly difficult, maybe not possible. And the most challenging one might be to not see the other, this antagonist, this perpetrator, as actually an enemy. Now, people will arise in your personal world, in the regional world, the global world, that we can clearly probably agree, yeah, this is a difficult character here. If there's such a thing as an enemy and an antagonist, we can list a few, right? Nonetheless, the sutra says be very careful. Do not land on any fixed sense of self for self or other. So watch how is the Dalai Lama expressing all these many years of being fleeing from persecution from his home country with the Chinese government, right? He's consistently kind in the language that he uses, both privately and publicly, as far as I have any access to, and I have some. If you need examples, here's a guy who, it's as bad as it can get, let's say. And this relentless holding up, seeing the actual Buddha nature of even, in his case, the Chinese Communist government that took land from what he sees to be his people. Let alone the drama down at the coffee shop or whatever. Right? So, okay, Dalai Lama is making actual political maneuvers, including giving up the political levers of power, which I think is a wise choice. Theocracy is not a good idea, even when it's Buddhist. No, in my view. And yet, not seeing the others as permanently evil. Instead, it's just a dharma arising. It's just a dharma. A dharma means like an expression of reality. So here's a little chunk of dharma for you. It's now manifesting as a paper with some modestly well-written ink on it. So that's a dharma, right? It's not just the Four Noble Truths, it's four dharmas. It's all reality. So this difficult situation is arising, but it's simply dharma. What do you do when you encounter a dharma? You practice it. Encounter one dharma, practice one dharma, this Master Dogen says over and over. So if you find yourself on the firing line, you're encountering a dharma, practice it. That's your practice. If you are driving home and suddenly you're bleeding out on the freeway, that's your practice. And I'm not kidding about that. Okay? If everything goes just the way you always hoped, and it's all sunbeams and rainbows and lollipops and kitties, okay, practice that. If you can practice it, you won't be trapped by it. It won't hurt you. If you identify with it, you're in a world of pain. Do you understand? So many of us in this room, in hearing this talk, are in the soup. There's just no wait, there's nothing for it. There's a lot of really messed up things going on. Okay? And some beautiful things going on. But what's the most important is to use all the ingredients of your life to awaken, to find the true human life, the true life of Buddha, the true life of freedom, even in the midst of these difficulties and these confusions and these people we love but can no longer talk to for stupid reasons, and on and on. Okay? So each of us must move from victimhood to Buddhahood, from rescuer, hero to companion and Sangha member, and from enemy to simply seeing this is Dharma. It's just cause and effect, okay? All of this stuff that's going on, it's cause and effect, baby. If you know your history, if you actually understand history, historians see this stuff coming a mile out front, okay? Doesn't mean it doesn't take the sting as such, but this is just cause and effect playing out. And it's been playing out for 2,600 years in the Sangha. Like, we've got some data points, okay? We've seen it all. There's different versions of it, but there's only a few stories that play out. And one of them is you're in favor with the government. One of them is you're persecuted by the government. The other one is the government doesn't care about you, okay? Each of those has advantages and deficits. Your country is either in war, getting into war, or just getting out of war. Historically, that's basically your situation. Congratulations, okay? I hope we can do better, I really do. But I know that the way to do better is to realize ourselves. So at least us, at least those of us that are fortunate enough to have the causes and conditions to practice together as a Sangha, let us practice these fault lines with clarity and with compassion and with love. Okay. In this way, we can companion with each other, we can help each other, we can be a resource, and also we maintain our own dignity and you maintain your own power. Do not go to the great Roshi and say, what should I do with my life? They're going to say, well, what do you want to do? Well, this is what I want to do. Have you been doing it? Yes. How's it working out? Not well. Well, what do you think about that? I don't like it. What would you rather do then? You understand? So you cannot plug your umbilical cord into the Buddha or the lineage or anyone else. Take custody of your own life, and you're not alone. Mind carefully the way that your mind winds identity. Particularly be careful when it's true. Even if it's true, you must find freedom, the freedom to be really authentic. So for the sake of all beings throughout space and time, may we realize the clear light purity of mind in all things, and may we work skillfully for the alleviation of suffering. May it be so.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Karma. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it.
Thank you all for choosing to be here today. This ends the streaming portion of our service. Are there any announcements?
Is this working? Okay. So my name is Shokai. Two announcements. Next